Hello everyone, hello students. I am Amruta Zadhav ma'am, your physics teacher. So here I am with the second part of current electricity. I hope you all have gone through the first part of current electricity in which we have covered most of the points which were Kirchhoff's law, Kirchhoff both the law we have discussed. Then we have discussed Wheatstone's meter bridge, potentiometer, and one use of potentiometer also we have discussed in the previous part. So I hope you all have gone through it, and I hope you all understood that part. Then let's move toward our second part in which we are going to cover the remaining chapter. So welcome to the second part. Thank you so much all of you. Let's move toward the next slide which will tell you what points we are going to learn in this part. Okay. Thank you all. Here are the points to be learned in this part. In this particular part, we are going to learn about uses of potentiometer. One of the use we have discussed in the previous part, which is comparison of two EMF by individual cell method we have discussed. And in this part, we are going to compare the EMF of two cells by sum and difference method. Then another use of potentiometer is to find out the internal resistance of a given cell. And we are going to deal with the point which consisting of application of potentiometer, which is voltage divider, audio controller, and as a sensor. So these are the applications of potentiometer we are going to discuss in this particular part. And even the next point is galvanometer, and galvanometer as the ammeter and voltmeter. Not only galvanometer, actually it is a moving coil galvanometer. So let's move towards one by one point of this. In previous part, that is part 1, we have discussed one of the use of potentiometer, which is to find out or to compare the EMF of two cells by individual cell method. And here is the same application or same use of potentiometer, that is to compare the EMF of both the cells but by another method, and the method is sum and difference method. By using this method, we are going to consider both the batteries at a time. In individual cell method, as the name says individual, we were considering only one cell at a time and another cell was not working. But in this sum and difference method, we are going to consider both the cells at a time. So let's see how does it work. As you can see the circuit diagram over here, battery of EMF E, C and rheostat is connected between A and B point. Cell E1 and E2 are connected and it is connected to point A. Negative of both the terminals is connected to key. In this case, we are going to consider four-way key, that is also called as commutator key, which is having numbering 1, 2, 3 and 4. There are 4 keys, amongst which 2 will be working and 2 will not be working in this. And then it is connected to galvanometer, and another terminal of galvanometer is connected to jockey, by using which we are going to find out the balancing length by touching the jockey on the wire. So for the first condition, which is sum, in case of sum, what happens to the cell E1 and E2? Let's see. In the second diagram, you can see when negative terminal of one cell is connected to positive terminal of another cell, that means when opposite polarity is connected to each other, they try to assist each other. So they get sum up. So we are getting E1 plus E2. That is the first condition. They should have different polarities. When different polarities connected to each other, they assist each other and we get the condition as sum. Second one is for difference method. When same polarity is connected to each other, that means either negative of one cell is connected to negative of another cell, or positive of one cell is connected to positive of other cell, then we get E1 minus E2. In this case, E1 should be greater than E2 because we are subtracting E2 from E1. So E1 should be greater. So this is the condition by using which we are going to compare the EMF of both the cells E1 and E2. Now for the condition sum, what we are going to do is we are going to close the keys K1 and K3. The keys which are opposite to each other, you can see 1 and 3. These are the three keys. When we close both the keys and we are going to open the key 2 and 4, then first battery, that is E1, and negative of that battery will be connected to positive of second battery, which is E2. Then it will connected to galvanometer and we can find out the balancing length. So we are getting E1 plus E2. Again I am saying we are going to close the key first and 3. First key and third key we are going to close. Then E1 and E2 will be assisting each other. So, and by assisting that we are going to find out the balancing length. That means the point at which galvanometer will show zero deflection. So we are getting that deflection at suppose L1. So E1 plus E2 will be K L1. Now for the another condition, we are going to close the key 2 and 4 and 1 and 3 will be open. So current will flow through key 2 and 4. In this case, what will happen? Negative of E1 will be connected to negative of E2. So same polarity will be connected to each other. So we are getting the second condition, which is E1 minus E2. I am repeating again. We are going to close the keys 2 and 4. So current will flow through 2 and 4. So negative of E1 will be connected to negative of E2. And again we are going to do the same procedure, that we are going to find out the balancing length, the length at which galvanometer will show zero deflection. Suppose that length is L2. So we are getting E1 minus E2 is equal to K L2. That is the difference condition. Now by dividing both the equation, we are getting E1 plus E2 divided by E1 minus E2 is equal to L1 upon L2, as K will get cancelled because K is potential gradient and the wire is same throughout the experiment. We are not going to change the wire. So K will be same in both the cases. So K will get cancelled. Then by using componendo and dividendo rule, we come to the final result, that is the final formula, which is E1 upon E2 is equal to L1 plus L2 divided by L1 minus L2. So by using this formula, you can compare the EMF of two cells which are either is in sum form or is in difference form. You can compare the EMF of both the cells. This experiment is being performed in laboratory and we are going to do the demonstration of this experiment. So you will come to know how to calculate the values of all these things, that means L1 and L2, how we are going to calculate that you will come to know while doing the experiment in laboratory. Here is the theory part of this. You will definitely come to know how to do this experiment in lab. So don't worry about it. You are going to perform this experiment in lab. So here is the another use of potentiometer, that is to find out the internal resistance of given cell. As you can see, cell is having whose internal resistance itself, that we are going to find out. What amount of internal resistance is there inside a cell. So you can see the circuit diagram over here, in which battery E, key K1, rheostat, then key K2, another battery of EMF E1 who's having internal resistance small r, and this R is nothing but resistance box, galvanometer and jockey are connected as shown in the circuit diagram. Now we are going to find out the internal resistance of a cell having EMF E1. We are going to consider the battery E1. Now to considering that battery, first we are going to close the key K1 and we are going to open the key K2 so that only first battery, which is E, is under consideration. As K2 is open, current will not flow through the second battery, which is E1. Only first battery, which is E, is being considered. Now by considering that battery, some deflection will show inside the galvanometer. We are going to see the balancing point. That balancing point is obtained by taking out resistances from the resistance box. Then by taking some resistances out, we'll get zero deflection inside a galvanometer at some point. Consider that point is at L1. Then we are getting balancing length at L1. What is meaning of balancing length? At that length, potential difference will be 0. That means potential at both the points, at point A and at point L1, that will be same. So we are getting deflection inside a galvanometer as 0. So it is a null deflection method. So the equation what we are getting by doing this is E1 is equal to K into L1, where K is potential gradient. Now second procedure is to close both the keys. That means K1 as well as K2. We are going to close both the keys so that both batteries will be in consideration. So when the current is flowing through the battery towards E1, it will try to resist some current, and then it will show some deflection inside a galvanometer. Again we are going to take out some resistances from resistance box so that we are getting zero deflection inside a galvanometer. So the point at which and the resistance at which galvanometer is showing zero deflection, that condition is nothing but V is equal to KL2. So this is the condition when K1 and K2 both are closed. That means both cells are in working and we are getting zero deflection inside a galvanometer by taking out some amount of resistance from the resistance box. So as we know both the equations, that is E1 and V, we are going to divide both the equations by one another. Then we are getting E1 divided by V is equal to KL1 upon KL2. So by cutting K, which is same as the wire which is along A and B, is same throughout the experiment and it is uniform, so we can cancel out K, which is potential gradient. So we are getting E1 upon V is equal to L1 upon L2. Now what is our aim? To find out the internal resistance. So let's move towards our next point, that is we are going to consider a loop which is PQSTP. PQSTP, the first loop, which is considering even resistance small r, internal resistance is that, then capital R, which is resistance box. By considering all these terms, we are getting E1 is equal to IR plus I into small r. This is by using Kirchhoff's law. And the second is V is equal to IR. This is by direct we can see. So by dividing both the equations, we are getting E1 divided by V is equal to IR plus I small r divided by IR. By taking out I from numerator and cutting with denominator, we are getting R plus R divided by capital R, which is equal to nothing but L1 by L2 by the previous derivation. So we are getting the final formula to find out internal resistance is small r is equal to capital R into L1 upon L2 minus 1. So by using this formula, we can find out the internal resistance of a given cell, as capital R is the resistance from the resistance box that we are going to discuss, and we are going to decide what amount of resistance we are going to remove from this. So this is known, capital R is known, L1 and L2 are the balancing length. So these are known to us. So by using all these terms, we can find out the internal resistance of a given cell. This is the experiment that we are going to perform in lab. So we are going to perform this experiment by doing various amount of readings, by taking various amount of resistances from the resistance box. then you will come to know how to find out the internal resistance of a given cell by doing that experiment personally. After seeing all the uses of potentiometer, now we are going to see applications of potentiometer. There are three applications of potentiometer. First application you can see on this slide, which is voltage divider. I'm going to give you one example. Think on that example, and the example is any battery. Suppose the battery is of Nippo cell battery. It is having EMF 1.5 volt, and I want to use only 0.5 volt of it for some purpose. So what we can do to use only zero point 0.5 voltage amongst 1.5 voltage? So here is the answer, and the answer is voltage divider. Voltage divider, that means we can divide the voltage which is coming from any device, and it divide the voltage and we get the desired voltage from that. For example, if any battery having 1.5 volt of voltage and I want to use only zero point 0.5 volt of it, then voltage, that is 1.5 volt, should divide so that I get the desired voltage as only 0.5 volt. So this can be carried out by using potentiometer. So how is it so? Here are two more uses of potentiometer. Second is audio control. To control the audio, you can use potentiometer, as slider will do the work of increasing or decreasing the audio or the amplitude of that audio. So potentiometer can be used as audio controller. And third one is it can be used as sensor. How it can be used as sensor? The moving part of machine can be connected to slider of the potentiometer. So when the machine will change its speed, slider will show it to you. When the speed goes on increases, slider will show the more deflection. Slider will move very fastly. So you can sense that by using potentiometer. So this is the another application of potentiometer. So we have seen uses as well as application of potentiometer. So potentiometer is a device which can measure potential difference between the 2 points. It can measure the EMF and it can measure the internal resistance of any given cell. So this is all about the potentiometer, and now and onwards we are going to see another term which consisting of galvanometer. So let's move towards the next slide. So here is the slide which explains galvanometer. Not only galvanometer, but this kind of galvanometer is moving coil galvanometer. That means it has a coil which is moving and it is being placed in concave pole faces of a strong laminated horseshoe magnet. So basically why we use galvanometer while doing experiments? When there is a very small current flowing through any circuit, we use galvanometer. For smaller current only, we can use galvanometer. When the range is high, we can use milliammeter or microammeter itself. But to find out very small current inside any circuit, we can use galvanometer. So let's move towards moving coil galvanometer. Here is the construction of MCG or moving coil galvanometer. Here is the diagram which is showing a picture of it, in which you can see a horseshoe magnet is there. In that horseshoe magnet, a coil is pivoted. A coil is there, and coil is consisting of a needle which is showing some readings on it. When the electric current flows through it, that will try to deflect, and that current and that deflection is directly proportional to each other. So deflection proportional to the current passing through it. And the pointer is showing deflection. In between the coil is consisting of iron core and the rectangular coil is there. It will try to deflect all the time when the current is flowing through it. And when it try to deflect, the needle which is on the rectangular coil is showing some deflection. It is calibrating in by on that scale and it is showing the reading. So it can be used either as ammeter or as a voltmeter. So now we are going to see how it can be used as ammeter and how it can be used as voltmeter. So let's move towards our another slide which is explaining all the terms related to MCG. To convert galvanometer as a ammeter, what we can do, these are the following steps. So here is the circuit diagram and the mathematical expressions showing how the galvanometer can be used as ammeter. In circuit diagram you can see R, G and S, where R is the resistance, S is the shunted resistance and G is the galvanometer. Current is flowing throughout the circuit and it get divided into two. First it is flowing through G, so it is denoted by Ig, and when it is flowing through S it is denoted by Is. So according to Kirchhoff's law, summation of all the currents, it should be equal to 0. So by considering one of the loop, we can say current through S is nothing but Is is equal to I minus Ig. Whole current minus current which is flowing through Ig will give you current through shunted resistance which is S. So Is is equal to I minus Ig. As you can see inside a diagram, and it is the condition to convert galvanometer to ammeter, G and S are connected to each other in parallel form. So the potential should be balanced. So we are getting the equation as G into Ig is equal to S into Is, where G is nothing but resistance through G and S is nothing but resistance through S. So G Ig is equal to S Is. So as we know the value for Is, we are going to substitute the value of Is in that equation. So we are getting S is equal to Ig divided by I minus Ig into capital G. So we can find out the shunted resistance. By using that shunted resistance, value of that shunt resistance, we can convert galvanometer into ammeter. Now if the current I is n times of the current Ig, what will happen if it is n time of Ig? So you can put value of I as n times Ig. So by putting the value of I inside the given equation, we get S is equal to Ig upon Nig minus Ig. So taking out the term Ig and cancelling out, we are getting S is equal to G divided by N minus 1. If Is is the current through shunt resistance, then remaining current is nothing but I minus Is will flow through the galvanometer. So in another way, you can find out the next equation. So that is nothing but G into I minus Is. What we have done over here, first we have put formula instead of Is, and secondly we are going to put the formula instead of Ig. So we are getting the second equation as Is upon I is equal to G divided by S plus G. So in this way you can convert the galvanometer into ammeter. After converting galvanometer to ammeter, here we are with galvanometer as voltmeter. So we can convert the galvanometer into voltmeter as well. So here is the flowchart showing how to convert galvanometer into voltmeter. First, as it is a voltmeter, so potential difference or voltage capacity should increase. And what should decrease? Effective resistance also should increase. Effective voltage capacity should increase, effective resistance should increase, and it must be protected from excess potential difference. It must be protected from excess potential difference. These two flowcharts can be used as the difference between ammeter and voltmeter also. So in this way we can convert voltmeter into galvanometer into voltmeter. And the last point which is remaining, high resistance. It is the main point, highlighted point. High resistance is connected in series with J, so that we can convert MCJ into voltmeter. So let's move towards the circuit diagram. Here you can see the circuit diagram. X is the high resistance, is connected in series with G, and R is the resistance inside a circuit. V is the potential difference applied across it, and Ig is the current which is flowing through G. So if V is the voltage to be measured, then we can see V is equal to Ig is the current which is flowing throughout the circuit, so it is common, and the total resistance in this is nothing but X plus G, where X is the high resistance connected in series and G is the resistance through galvanometer. So you can write down the equation as V is equal to Ig into X plus Ig into G. So Ig into X, taking to another side, that will give you V minus Ig into Z. So you can find out the value for X over here. And as NV is nothing but V divided by Vg, by putting that value, you can get the equation as X is equal to G into bracket NV minus 1. So in this manner, you can convert galvanometer as a voltmeter. This both question can be asked for 3 marks, either as a voltmeter or as a ammeter. You have to study both of them. You can do study of both of them in comparison formation. We have the slide in which we have explained the distinguish between ammeter and voltmeter also. In that way also you can do the study to remember. After studying how the galvanometer can be used as ammeter as well as a voltmeter, we have to see the comparison between ammeter and voltmeter. There are some basic points which you all know the difference between ammeter and voltmeter, but these are the following points which are regarding to MCG, which is moving coil galvanometer. So let's see what is the difference between them. First difference is it measures inside an ammeter, it measures current, and in voltmeter obviously it measures potential difference. Ammeter, in case of ammeter, galvanometer is connected in series. In case of voltmeter, galvanometer is connected in parallel. That we have already seen. Third point is it is an MCG with low resistance. As we have measured ammeter, that is as we have measured current, so resistance should be low, so that we'll get highest current inside any circuit. So in ammeter, MCG with low resistance, ideally it should be 0, and in case of voltmeter it is having high resistance and ideally it is infinite. Point number 4 is smaller the shunt, greater will be the current measured. And in case of voltmeter, larger its resistance, greater will be the potential difference measured. Point number 5 is resistance of ammeter is RA S into G divided by S plus G, or you can say G divided by N. And in case of voltmeter, resistance of voltmeter is RV is equal to G plus X, which is equal to G into NV. So these are the points of comparison between ammeter and voltmeter. This question can be asked in board for 3 marks, in which you can write down 3 points or 6 points you can write. but we have discussed only 5 points. So for 3 marks you can write 3 points, and if it is asked for 2 marks you can write 4 points. So in this part we have discussed the following points. First is the use of potentiometer, that is comparison of EMF of two cells by Stroman difference method, that we have discussed. Then we have discussed the how to find out the internal resistance of a given cell by using potentiometer itself. Then we have discussed the applications of potentiometer, which is voltage divider, audio controller, and as a sensor. These three are the applications of potentiometer that we have discussed in this part. And third one is galvanometer, that is moving coil galvanometer we have studied. Then we have studied about how the galvanometer can be used as ammeter as well as how it is can be used as voltmeter. Both we have studied in this part. Also we have seen the comparison between ammeter and voltmeter. So these are the points which were covered in this part, and I am declaring that whole chapter is finished between the two parts, and I hope you all understood all the concepts and all the content inside both the parts. In case of any query, do comment. I will try to solve all your queries. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching both the parts of current electricity. I hope you all have understood all the concepts regarding current electricity. All the things which are experimental basis, we are going to do demonstration, and you all are going to demonstrate all the experiment which are regarding to resistance bridge, potentiometer, and also voltage divider. That all three are the experiments that you are going to study inside a laboratory. So if you have any query, you will come to know how to solve that query by yourself after doing that experiment. So thank you for watching both the parts, and if you have any query, do comment. I will try to solve all the queries of yours. Thank you so much.